Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The topic, characteristics of self-development. So we were seeing what are all the indicators that helps you to understand that you are on the path. How do you know that you are on the right paths? There are certain indicators. The few indicators that are, it's not an exhaustive list. These are a few indicators that can be used for understanding purposes. So the first one that we studied is self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency is a state where you are not dependent upon anything for peace, for security, for happiness. That is self-sufficiency. Opposite of self-sufficiency is you believe that something will make you happy. Something is capable of making you happy. If something is capable of making you happy, then that something will be capable of making you unhappy also. So self-sufficiency is a state where you understand it's neither it neither makes you happy nor unhappy. Meaning your mental state is not dependent on it. So emotional, your mental state is not dependent on that. This is what we call as self-sufficiency. The next one is universal love. Have we studied this universal love, Anshu? Yeah. We'll start with universal love. Yeah.
Universal love. The love that people claim to have for their near and dear ones is far from true love. Actually, it is preferential attachment, uneven love. You love your child more than any other. How is it that your love is concentrated on your child alone? Think, your child caters to your personal demands more than others, satisfies your physical, emotional, and intellectual needs, fulfills your self-centered, selfish interest. Thus, the love you claim for your child is all but directed to your own well-being. You are merely loving yourself when you say you love your dear ones. True love is even, same to one and all. Love in its purest form has to be universal, not concentrated in one. Universal love is an essential trait of self-development. Jesus Christ attained that supreme state. His love was unabated in the worst circumstance. When Christ was crucified, he maintained the same feeling. As he was nailed on the cross, his last words were dripping with love. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do.
Yeah. Now, this universal love. Love is a very ancient topic. Just as God is, love is also very, very old, very ancient. Playwrights, musicians, poets, psychologists, everybody has glorified the meaning of the word love. They try to say what is love, and they try to say what is not love, etc. And we have so much of understanding, so much of knowledge, and also we have experienced the love, and yet there is no love. Because it is something that is always, there is something that is missing in that love. Something that is not fundamentally understood about love. And if you have to understand fundamentally what love is, you have to study Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where the husband teaches the wife what love is. Yajnavalkya teaches his wife Maitreyi about what love is. And it is very, very important to understand that love. Once you understand that love, then you will understand what is meant by universal love. First, let us understand love, and then we'll try to explore what is universal love. Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi that love is an association that you develop with anything that caters to you. An association that you develop with anything that caters to you. The moment it stops catering to you, the association drops. So the association that is centered on you, meaning it is beneficial to you. In some way, it is of use to you. So emotion that is springs from you, the individual, that is self-centered, where the attention is on yourself. So in one angle, love, the attention is on you. In another angle, love, the attention can be on the other. So in love, there are two things that you have. One is you, the other in the love is the other. Invariably, the other doesn't come into the picture at all in love. Invariably, the other don't come at all. You are only concerned about yourself. Because of you concerned about yourself all the time, whatsoever you call as love, Yajnavalkya in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says that is not love. Because the center is you. You meaning what? You means your needs, your demands, your expectations, your sense of loneliness, your sense of pain, your sense of suffering, and somebody attends to all this. So anybody who attends to these needs of yours, you call as love. So in order to love, in order for you to, now from this, what do you understand? You have a need and someone comes and caters to that need. In universal love, we are going to see something very, very different. So first let us understand love. Love is such a complicated emotion that all emotions can be classified as various forms of love only. Like for example, in certain forms, love can be called as compassion. In certain forms, love can be called as sympathy. In certain forms, love can be called as empathy. In certain forms, hatred also comes from, in certain forms, hatred also comes from love only, where you have the intensity of your hatred indicates, supposing you hate somebody very intensely, that intensity of the hatred is directly dependent upon what? How much you have loved that person in the past. More you have loved that person in the past, now you will have more hatred. Less you have loved, less hatred. No love, no hatred, no? Correct? So even this emotion, hatred also has a connection with love. So it is one emotion that has various shades, various expressions. Instead of talking about all the shades and expressions, here we are talking about just one. Love. And love is that emotion. When you are interacting with the world, you actively respond to persons, objects, situations. Again, I repeat. When you are interacting with the world, you actively respond to objects, you respond to situations, you respond to persons, humans. The response is not always dispassionate or totally objective, because the responses that you do is always clouded by the emotion. Your responses is always clouded by the emotion. So, emotion has various shades. Emotions decides your responses. Emotions are what you are, and emotions is what you have. It boils down to that. It fundamentally it boils down to what? Emotions are what you are, and emotions is what you have. And it is the emotions that can complicate one's life and complicates the life of everybody around. Just that emotion. Yeah. And all complications, if you see, if not all, mostly it is because of misplaced these emotions. Even Mahabharata war, emotional, isn't it? Arjuna, everybody is kind of emotional in that. Everybody is kind of emotional in that situation. Now, what has happened to... Okay, to put it in a very, very simple way, in front of the child, understand this. We are all like Duryodhana in the way. And we are all like Duryodhana in the sense, blind father Dhritarashtra. In that sense, Duryodhana had a father, and father is blind, could not see. Okay, from the child's standpoint, understand this. From the child's standpoint, everyone around the child is bigger, more capable, therefore better. This is how the child sees. Everyone around the child is bigger, more capable, therefore better. So in comparison, the child feels what? In comparison to them, the child feels a sense of uselessness, a sense of dependency. Because of the sense of uselessness and dependency, the child starts seeking approval from the others. Carefully follow. This is what everybody does. This is what we all did, and that is what we are still doing. We understand how all this is connected to love. Whether the child is a prince or born to the beggar on the roadside, the child feels the same. What does the child feel? Everybody around is bigger, more capable, therefore better. Who appear as gods? Very simple. Parents appear as gods. Therefore, have you ever observed small children? When I say children, means not Venkatachalam kind of children. Yeah, real children. I mean, not real children. Venkatachalam kind of children is 70, 80, 70 plus. Not that kind of children. Real children. 2 years old, 3 years old. 2-year-old, 3-year-old child is what I'm talking about. Have you ever observed the child will jump from a table? The child will jump from a table, and the table is only 3 feet, 2 feet high, 3 feet high. The child will jump from the table and look at the parents. For what? Look at the parents for what? A sense of achievement, and that achievement has to be approved. If nobody pays attention to that, what happens? Child gets very depressed. Are you able to understand this example? This is how it starts. Their approval neutralizes what now? The approval from the parents neutralizes what? What does the child feel? A sense of inadequacy. Correct? Because others are bigger, it is small. Follow that. Follow what we are saying. The others are small, others are bigger, and the child is small. So the sense of inadequacy has to be, the sense of emptiness inside, the sense of inadequacy has to be attended to. And the only way that it can be attended to is by what? Whom the child considers big must give approval. That's why at one stage you want approval from the parents, at another stage you want approval from the school teacher, at another stage you want approval from the friend, at another stage you want approval from the university teacher, at another stage you want approval from your boss in the organization, at another stage you want approval from, you leave everything and come to the spiritual guru, and you will want approval from, you will want approval from the guru. At least you want approval from the social group that you are associated with. But nevertheless, always there is this sense of inadequacy at the core. The sense of being small, the sense of inadequacy, and the sense of being small and the sense of inadequacy constantly seek approval from others. Whoever approves of it, the mind will develop a special bondage with that person. Whoever approves, a special bond will be developed. And that bond is misunderstood as love. Whoever approves. You follow? Suddenly, if the grandparents approve, the child will be more attached to the grandparents. If the father approves, more to the father. There are families where the father and mother are so busy, the child is going with the help. The child is going with the help. And most of the time, the child is comfortable with the helpers. Why? Because they are the one who keeps constantly approving. They are the ones who keep constantly growing. Therefore, a sense of inadequacy is there at the core from the beginning. Knowledge removes this inadequacy from the core. When this inadequacy is gone, whatever comes out of you becomes universal love. So universal love is freedom from this inadequacy. Love இவ்வளவு காம்ப்ளிகேட்டடா யாரும் பேசுறதே கிடையாது. Nobody complicates love like the way it is, the way that you are complicating. Why? It's just a simple, pure, noble emotion called love. Series of mistakes that people make. Wherever there is a tragedy, wherever there is a pain, wherever there is suffering, if you analyze, it will be, the cause will be an emotion. And that emotion will be attachment, which is misunderstood as love. Life is made up of emotions. Life is full of emotions. In the case of other species also have emotions, but there is a natural protection they have. Human beings don't have that natural protection. They don't have that natural protection. They have to make an effort and develop that. And love is the theme in all the movies. Love is the theme in music. Love is the theme for everything. Everybody is craving for love. I want to be loved. Why a person want to be loved? Because why a person want to be loved? There is this sense of inadequacy and constantly looking for somebody to come and I'm looking from somebody to fill it up. And whoever fills it up, I want to quantify it. If somebody comes and fills it up, mind will not be able to accept it. Again, if somebody quantifies it, you will not be able to accept it. Immediately, what do you ask? When somebody professes love, what all questions that goes? Vijayarangan. யாரும் கேட்கவே மாட்டேன்றாங்க சார். Nobody is saying that. So how will I even Sudha is not saying no. Do you really love me? Why do you love me? As though there should be a reason to love, isn't it? Do you really love me? Why do you love me? How much do you love me? Now the person has to invent stories to reply to these questions. Do you know that? Because that person doesn't have the person doesn't know answers to all these questions. Now he has to invent stories. And the very fact that they invent stories itself takes love. The very fact that they have to invent stories on love itself takes away love. So what is the story? Why do you love me? What is the right answer? Ganesh. Why do you? Not me, huh? Not me. Why do you love me? What should be the right answer? The right answer is this. Because I have never seen a foolish person like you. The foolishness is so much that it is so attractive. What answer can you give? Why do you? What answer can you give? Why do you? Why do you love? Are you able to follow? You cannot give an answer to this question. Why do you? Why do you love? Because the person can't say they are not able to give an answer because they are not loving you. They are loving themselves. They cannot say why, because they are in love with. I love you because you are catering to me. Who can say that? Because first of all, people don't even understand this. First of all, people don't even understand this is what is happening. You follow? See. Yagyavalkya tells Maitreyi, the husband is not dear for the sake of the husband, but for the sake of the self in the husband. The wife is not dear for the sake of the wife, but for the sake of the self in the wife. So the son is not dear for the sake of the son, but for the sake of the self in the son. That's why even in this paragraph that we studied now, he says, why do you love your child more than the rest? Because the mindness that you can claim there, the ownership that you can claim, the mindness that you can claim. You follow? All this is misunderstanding of love. Opposite of all this is universal love. We can never say what universal love is. We can only say what is the wrong, what is wrong love, what is not love. When all that is eliminated, what remains is universal love. That's how we have to be. That's how it is understood. So universal love is not something that you can develop or practice. As you keep dropping something, universal love starts flowering out of you. So you don't practice love, you practice some other things, as a result of which universal love starts flowering out of you. Anybody says, I love you, you feel so happy. You know why? When somebody says, I love you, there is a happiness. Why? Because in that love, it implies you are accepted as you are. Your height, your weight, your nose, your ears, your emotions, your madnesses, all are accepted. Are you able to follow? When somebody says, I love you, why there is an obsession towards that person? Why do you develop an obsession towards that person? You develop an obsession towards that person because that love simply says, I accept you as you are. That's what the hope is. But then in reality, what happens? In reality, that's not how it works, isn't it? In spite of this, afterwards, what happens? From I love you, discussion changes. In spite of this, I love you. Correct? First they say, I love you. And that I love you appears to be unconditional, appears to be accepting you as you are, which is so relieving for you. Why it is so relieving for you? You are not able to accept yourself, and somebody is accepting you as you are. In that acceptance, there is an approval. In that acceptance, there is a satisfaction. After a while, you understand what? After a while, what do you understand? That acceptance didn't happen like that. The acceptance starts, unconditional acceptance didn't happen. That is where from I love you, the discussion changes to what? Though you said that, I still love you. In spite of this, I still love you. Are you able to follow? How clauses and conditions gets introduced slowly? And every time clauses and conditions are introduced to love, what happens? It starts suffocating. It starts becoming a pain. It means in the beginning, there is no, in the beginning, you didn't even understand what love is. That is where all this complication comes. Are you able to follow? Oh, if only I had known this 5 years back, I would not have loved you, isn't it? If only I had known this 10 years back, I wouldn't have come anywhere near you. Are you able to follow? All these implies what? All these implies what? All these indicates what? All these implies, all these indicates that your emotions, your expectations, your ethics, your morals, your terms and conditions, all must be met for you to say, I love you, which is not love, which the world understands as love, which is not love. What is this? What is this emotion? These emotions has various modifications. The same emotion has one modification at one stage. The same emotion turns into another modification at another stage. Atmanastu kamaya, that is the word. Yajnavalkya to Maitreyi. Remember these two words, formula for the understanding emotion. Atmanastu kamaya. Atmanastu kamaya means your love for anything is for your own sake and not for the sake of the other. Does that mean there is no such thing called love at all? Nobody knows what love is? What is the answer? If you take this definition of love, it implies what? Nobody knows what love is. There is no such thing called love at all. It's a grand sweeping declaration, which will be very, how justified is this conclusion? And yet the truth is, this declaration is the reality. What is it? Atmanastu kamaya. Atmanastu kamaya means love for anything is for your own sake and not for the sake of the other. What is love? Please understand this in a very, I'm going to put it in a very gross way what love is. Love is the emotion that connects the pleased person and an external object. Again, I repeat. Love is the emotion that connects the pleased person and an external object. If an object evokes displeased, love turns to dislike. Are you able to follow? If that object evokes displease, you develop dislike. If the object evokes please, it's called like love. Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. If you want to understand emotion, love, this conversation is the formula. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where Yajnavalkya teaches Maitreyi. Yajnavalkya asks Maitreyi, do you think I love you? Beautiful conversation there. Yajnavalkya divides his wealth into two. Very wealthy man. Very wealthy man he was. He divides his wealth into two, calls his two wives and gives the wealth to the two. Katyayani and Maitreyi are the two wives. Katyayani takes the wealth and says thank you and leaves. Maitreyi says, answer my questions before I take your wealth. Answer my questions before I take your wealth. And that conversation is called Brihadaranyaka. That is one particular portion in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I can understand what wealth can give. Maitreyi tells Yajnavalkya, the wife, tells husband, I can understand what wealth can give, and I can understand what life will be without it. I know what it can give. I know what life will be without it, and you earned it, knows it much better than me. If you are leaving such a wealth, then you must be knowing something meaningful. What is? That is the question. Are you able to follow? Beautiful question. I know she knows what wealth can give. She knows what is the misery of absence of wealth. And this man has earned all this. Having earned all this person says, leaving everything. So the question is, what is it that you have? What is it that you have? Teach me that. Now that you have asked this question, Maitreyi, you have become dearest to me. Previously, you were only dear. Dear, dearer, dearest, isn't it? Dear, dearer, dearest. Now that you have asked this question, you have become dearest. What a question to ask, Maitreyi. You have become dearest. Now the teaching starts. Do you believe that I love you? Husband is asking the wife, do you believe that I love you? She says, yes, obviously. I am so blessed to have a husband like you, where so many women are jealous of me because of having got a husband like you. So I know that you love me. What makes you to think that I love you? Do you love me? What makes you to think? What makes you to think that I love you? What makes you to think that we are in love? Atmanastu kamaya priyam bhavati. Maitreyi, all that you call as love is nothing but you are fundamentally displeased. You are fundamentally seeking approval. You are fundamentally having a sense of inadequacy, limitation. You are constantly seeking somebody to come and fill it up. And whoever fills it up, you catch hold of them. That is called attachment. You catch hold of them. That is called attachment. The moment you understand that they are not pleasing you anymore, why they stop pleasing you? Because suddenly you start realizing they have some other shades also which is not acceptable to you. They have few other shades which is unacceptable to you. The shades that is unacceptable to you, when it is manifested or when it is shown, what happens to your love? Oh, that person doesn't deserve my love. That person don't deserve me, sir. So yeah, correct. There are people who come and say, I think that person don't deserve me. Very good. Who deserves you? Nobody, isn't it? Who deserves? Nobody deserves. You are in love with. You can either you love or you don't love. You can't love partially. The problem, the complication of love is this. Again, I repeat. The complication of love is you can't love partially. When you say I love, you love the entire package. When you say I love, you love the entire package. In that package, you can't choose. Some portion I love, some portions I do not love. You cannot love partially. You love the whole person. Person means the package. Package means what? Package implies what? That person implies what? All that he or she stands for, isn't it? All that he or she stands for means their beliefs, their notions, their likes and dislikes, all put together is the package. When you say, I love that person, what the other person believes is you have accepted the whole package. That's what the other believes. In reality, what is the truth? You can never accept the package. Are you okay till now? Universal love means the package is accepted. That is universal love. What is universal love now? When they say, I love the whole package. The simple sentence, I love you, implies a complete acceptance of the package. That's what the other person hears. When you say, I love you, how the other person receives it? What does the other person hear? The other person doesn't hear the word love. The other person hears the word acceptance. So, what is universal love? Acceptance. Acceptance. Acceptance of the package. Acceptance of the package. Package means, please understand, package means some are known, some are unknown, and you should be ready for surprises. And you should be always ready for surprises. In fact, the beauty of package is that surprise. The surprise element is the package. That is why Sashyabda Purti Koda, you can't say Sashyabda Purti means 60 years of 80 years. Here, 2 weeks back, there was some occasion in the family. They were celebrating 60th wedding day. Not 60th birthday. Not 60th birthday, 60th wedding day. I went and asked that uncle. They're very close. I'm they're very close. I'm very close. They're very close to me. So I went. Just in front of 4 or 5, I asked. I said, at least after 60 years, does she really understand you and take care of you? You know the answer. No answer, I don't have to say. You know the answer. That man turns and says, after 60 years also she doesn't? Why? She doesn't. Why? Surprises are coming. Packages are the inability to accept the package. So what is love here? Love simply means you are able to accept the package. What is universal love now? Acceptance. acceptance. See, acceptance doesn't imply how you relate and all that. That's a different state. How you relate is not what we are discussing here. We are discussing about what is your inner state. How you will relate and all is a different subject altogether. That is not what is discussed. That is not what we are discussing here. You cannot afford to underestimate the feeling of complete acceptance. You cannot afford to misunderstand it. You cannot afford to underestimate the feeling of complete acceptance. That is why criticism is very irritating. Criticism implies I am not accepted. That is why any form of criticism is very irritating. And criticism from the one who has accepted you totally is welcomed. That's why they say, no, 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 even if the person says it, I know why they are saying it. So, why criticism is so painful? Because criticism is what? Not accepting the package or expecting the package to be different from the package. Love and trust, they say, no. What is trust here? Trust means that I will not be criticized. That is the trust. Love goes with trust, they say. Love and trust. What is trust? Trust means that I will not be criticized. Because criticism has a venomous nature in it. Something venomous is there in that criticism. Something very unpleasant is there in that criticism. But constructive criticism, sir, that and all you don't have to do. It is that person's problem. That person, let that person handle their things. From your side, what you got to do? Whatever or whoever evokes the pleased person in you, that becomes an object of love. So it means the condition to love is what? You should be pleased first. It should be pleasant to you. You should be pleased. That self-pleasing is what Yajnavalkya calls as Atmanastu Kamaya Priyam Bhavati. Atmanastu Kamaya. The self-pleasing. Love is for your sake alone. Whether the object of love is a person, an object, or a situation. Are you okay till now? This situation, this self-love makes you unmindful of others' happiness. The self-pleasing person in you, the self-pleasing thing in you becomes unmindful of others' happiness. You are oblivious to them. You fight for things to evoke the pleased self. Are you able to follow now? That's where it becomes the problem. The displeased self is the one who's unhappy. Therefore, they want to change the situation. They want to change the setup. The change can be a very simple change. It can be as simple as rearranging the furniture, rearranging the carpet, coming up with a new coming with a new coat of painting. It could be anything. So all that they do to keep the love going is the effort they make to please the other. So what is the effort that the person makes to keep the love going? The effort that you have to put to keep the love going is you have to please the other. So now understand the complexity of it. In order for you to get pleased, you have to please the other. So you please the other, so in turn the other pleases you. You please the other, so in turn the other pleases you. There should be give and take, no, sir? There should be this give and take, no? You please the other, so first I have to please the other. Why do I have to please the other? So that in turn the pleased one will make me happy. It is always Atmanastu Kamaya. It is always Atmanastu Kamaya. But sir, we are discussing universal love. No. When are we going to talk about universal love? When all this Atmanastu Kamaya is removed, what remains is universal love. So remove the traits of self-development is this Atmanastu Kamaya keeps reducing. Universal love starts manifesting. So you cannot directly love. You can only understand this selfishness and the foolishness of this Atmanastu Kamaya and eliminate that. When you understand the foolishness and the silliness of this Atmanastu Kamaya, what remains is what will remain is love. The foolishness of this kind of love is you accept yourself for the time being through the eyes of the other, because the other has accepted you. That's why this love is this love doesn't last, this love doesn't sustain, it is not love at all in the first place. Again, I repeat, when someone says, I love you, you accept yourself for the time being through the eyes of the others. Why you need the approval through the eyes of the others? Because in you, there is always an inadequacy. Now connected to the self-sufficiency. There is no inadequacy in that person. Because of that self-sufficiency, there is no inadequacy in that person. What comes out is this universal love. So that acceptance is what is happiness. When somebody says, I love you, what is the happiness in that statement? When somebody says, I love you, why there is so much of happiness in that statement, I love you? Because the other has told you, I accept you. And this acceptance is an overwhelming experience. It is something so profound, it's something so deep, but very temporary. It is very profound, it's very deep, but self-life is very temporary. Why? Because you are constantly dependent on the approval of, you are constantly needing the approval of somebody. Somebody has to keep certifying me, isn't it? Somebody has to keep certifying me. You follow? Therefore, where there is true love, there is wholeness. Where there is true love, there is wholeness. True love requires what? That you free yourself from your agenda for the other. You don't have any agenda for the other. That is true love. Again, I repeat, love requires that you free yourself from your agenda for the other. You see, love brings about an understanding. No, what is this understanding? Acceptance is the understanding. Are you able to follow? Only this, sir, love brings about a tremendous understanding, sir. What do they mean by understanding? Acceptance is you are accepted, makes you feel that the other has understood you. That's why they say, in love, there is complete understanding. Complete understanding means the package is accepted. There is no agenda. But then all our love comes with an agenda. Since our love comes with an agenda, our love always has a vulnerability to get hurt. Since our love comes with an agenda, that love is always vulnerable to get hurt. In universal love, there is no vulnerability at all to get hurt. In universal love, that vulnerability doesn't exist. That's why I always give this comparison. No. Who is your enemy of today? Your enemy of today is a friend yesterday. Yesterday's friend alone can turn into an enemy today. You know that? Something happened that animosity, hatred entered. Correct? Something happened that hatred entered. What is that something? That is where we talk about various modifications. Anger, jealousy, greed, mother, lobha, mother, matsarya, bhaya, raga, dvesh, all that we talk about. All this is nothing but love modifying itself into it. Thus, there is this love. There is this emotion, love. And this emotion, love, is that which makes you feel whole, complete, full. So, self-sufficiency or characteristics of self-development is what? To the extent you have developed this, to the extent you have developed, to that extent you will be able to have universal love. Are you able to follow? To that extent you will be able to have universal love. Therefore, when you say love is beautiful, what is beautiful in love? The other pleasing you is not beautiful. The other catering to you is not beautiful. The wholeness is beautiful. The acceptance is beautiful, because love should be understood as wholeness. Love should be understood as acceptance. That wholeness, that acceptance is the beauty of love, and such love by nature is universal. So you don't make an effort to make love universal. By default, that emotion love will be universal only. Love itself means universal. So there's no such thing called ordinary love and then universal love. Love itself implies universality. Are you able to follow? Love implies wholeness. Love implies acceptance. Love implies universality. Therefore, he concludes by saying, love in its purest form has to be universal. At the end of the first paragraph, he says, love in its purest form has to be universal. Universal love is an essential trait of self-development. And Jesus Christ's example is quoted. What is an example of Jesus Christ? Forgive them, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Forgive them. It's love. It's affection. So all emotions are in this love. So by default, what do you understand now? Love means by nature, love means it has to be universal only. Specific love cannot be called as love at all. Specific love is Atmanastu Kamaya. Specific love is Atmanastu Kamaya, which is not love at all, because you are in love with yourself and the other is pleasing you. The other is pleasing you. temporarily only. Anybody can please you only temporarily. Nobody can please you forever. Why? Because you are changing, the other is changing, all are changing. So the changing self cannot be pleased all the time. Therefore, what is love? Universal love. Universal love is the same to one and all. In its purest form, it has to be universal, not concentrated in a few. The affection is universal. Obligations are different. Understand the difference. Obligations is what you manifest. Affection is universal. Obligations always have a limitations. So we are not discussing about manifestation of love and all here. It's your inner state. What is that inner state? That inner state is one of universality. Universality. This is universal love. Therefore, we try to understand how by default love is only universal. By default, love is universal only. So where it is concentrated on a few, it is called, where it is concentrated on a few, it is called attachment. In the language of Upanishad, Atmanastu Kamaya. Atmanastu Kamaya. How many times he repeats in the Upanishads? He takes the husband, he takes the wife, he takes the son, he takes the daughter, he takes the wealth, he takes the gods. Oh my God. Each and every month, each and every statement that he says can be spoken for so long. 27 times he repeats. So 27 classes you can take just on that. Atmanastu Kamaya on wife, Atmanastu Kamaya on husband, Atmanastu Kamaya on wealth, Atmanastu Kamaya on each and everything you can. So beautiful is that mantra. Universal love by nature. Actually, it's all universal love. Love by nature has to be universal only. Love by nature will remain universal. With this, we conclude universal love. Next week, we will study objectivity.
Anshu has raised a question, sir.
Oh.
Anshu, it is posted.
Love and trust goes together. Unable to understand this. Did I say this, Anshu?
Yes.
I said this. If I have said this, then it has to be correct only. Somebody else has said it, it is wrong. We will not answer. If I have said it, it is correct. See, when I say what is trust? What is trust? Trust doesn't mean your secrets are kept, no? Generally, people think trust means you can say something and the other person doesn't reveal it to anybody else. That is the general meaning of the word trust, isn't it? Now, here when we talk about trust, what I meant by trust here is you can open up only where there is no fear of criticism. That is trust. I connected it, I'm connecting it like that. You can open up and say only where there is no fear of criticism, where there is no fear of being judged, where it is not going to be used against you at some point of time. Then only you can trust, no? You say something, why it is so difficult to be open, because you know that the other will use it against you at some point in time, isn't it? Trust implies what? Trust implies all this won't happen. Trust implies all this won't happen, isn't it? That's why love and trust always goes. So I meant a trust in this way. I meant trust in that manner. Is it okay, Anshu?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to connect?
Yes, yes.
Where there is love, I spoke about criticism, and in that context, I said this love, no? Trust, isn't it? What is criticism? The common mantra today, isn't it? What is the common mantra today? Criticism. Didn't I tell you before? Didn't I tell you? இதான் நான் முன்னாடியே சொன்னேன்ல, இதான் நான் அன்னைக்கே சொன்னேன்ல. This, didn't I tell you this? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Relentlessly one thing that follows what? Didn't I? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you to bring the water? Didn't I tell you to do this? Didn't I tell you not to do this? Didn't I tell you? So there is so you are always on anybody that you meet, you are always on a defensive mode first. Trust means you meet that person, you don't have to be defensive. Such a beautiful relationship you have. And all of us are looking to meet that person one day in our life, isn't it? Who that person is, where that person is, God only knows. Where you meet that person and you don't have to be defensive. Otherwise, whoever you meet, you have to be defensive, correct? How do you have to be defensive? Didn't I tell you that? Didn't I tell you this? Didn't I tell you that? Didn't I tell you this? When you go on a holiday, didn't I tell you this will follow you? When you go on a pilgrimage, didn't I tell you this will follow you? When you organize events, didn't I tell you? What is trust here? Trust is you meet a person and you know that you don't have to put on a mask. You don't have to put a mask. Trust means you don't have to wear a mask. Otherwise, you have to wear a mask all the time. And wearing this mask is the burden. Because somewhere you want to put out all the mask and say, I just want to be by myself, isn't it? I just want to be by myself. But again, you can't be by yourself because you want approval for that also from the other. You want to be yourself and the other must approve that also. So that's how you are caught in that. That's how you are caught in that vicious loop. So what is meant by trust? Trust means an association where you don't have to wear an association where you don't have to wear a mask. An association where you know that you will not be judged. You will not be judged. You will not be exploited. That is trust. Isn't it? That is trust.
So a person who has universal love
Yes.
would not be worried about trust.
He is trustworthy.
He's trustworthy.
He is that person who has universal love by default will be trustworthy. Because of these factors, that person by default will be trustworthy. Trustworthy not in the sense of keeping the facts. It is not that. Because at one stage we all know there is nobody can do anything new that which you didn't do or I didn't do, isn't it? All human beings commit the same mistake that everybody does only. What is the big secret in that? There's no big secret in that. I always say, what is the new thing that you have done that nobody has done before? So there is no big secret in it. But then the secret, trust doesn't mean keeping secrets. Trust means a non-judgmental, in the relationship, you have that comfort. You say, I trust this person. Means you are not exploited. Where you feel you will not be exploited, are able to follow? Where your vulnerabilities will not be, your weaknesses or your vulnerabilities will not be exploited. That is trust. Otherwise, I'm so worried about safeguarding myself. No, I don't want to reveal certain things. Why? Because when I reveal it, it can be manipulated. Trust means what? A person of love will not even think in these lines. That's why love and trust always goes together, I said. Did I help you, Anshu?
Yes. So I have one more question.
Yes.
So, so all the modifications of desire, like the anger, the fear, the greed,
Yes.
comes because of the desire.
Yes.
So the positive emotions,
Yes.
which is compassion and gratitude,
Yes.
kindness.
Yes.
So all this is not a modification, just a result of desire not being there. It
Yes.
is.
It is. See, all the negative emotions is because the center is you. Positive emotions means the center has shifted to the other. Negative emotions means the center is you. Positive emotions means the center from you has shifted to the other. When your center is shifted to the other, the same emotion turns into love, compassion, sympathy, etc. Are you able to follow? When it is on you, anger, greed, jealousy, fear, etc. Krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, bhaya, dvesha, all that comes. When it is centered on you. When it is no more centered on you, it turns into empathy, compassion, sympathy, all that, whatever you call as positive emotions. That is why the feeling is the same. The center brings the quality difference. If it is you, it's a different quality. If it is the other, it's a different quality. So emotion being the same, it is where the center is located. Quality changes when the center changes. So in Vedanta, what we are saying, change the center. That changing the center is what we generally call as becoming unselfish. When the attention shifts from you to the other, you are becoming unselfish. That's what we generally call as becoming unselfish. You follow? So yes. It is the same thing. But then the center is not me. The center is the other. That's why somewhere in the middle I said, since the center is so much on you, you become unmindful of the pain that you cause to the others. Because of the center is on you, you become so you means not you, Anshu. Yeah, it is you also. Take it like that. Doesn't matter. It is you also because I know you. Makes you unmindful to the of others' happiness. You are oblivious to the pain that you are causing. You are not even aware that there is a pain. Why? Because attention is so much upon yourself. So it is the shift of attention, the shift of focus, the shift of the center. That's why it is so complicated. Shifting the center is the problem. Shifting the attention from one to the other is the difficulty. Is it okay, Anshu?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Venkatachalam. One second. They will unmute you. Yes. Yes.
The center shifts from the self to
yes.
others. Does it mean the ego
Yes,
also comes down, or
Yes.
the ego is not dominant,
yes.
or practically no ego.
Practically no ego and the ultimate state.
At the ultimate stage,
Yes,
but
at
it is the
In the,
much
in the relative state, it is the dilution of the ego.
dilution of the ego.
Yes,
That's a better way of
yes.
saying
The,
it.
it,
It's to lower the ego.
yes, it is diluted. It is a dilution of the ego. That's what it means. It is a dilution. No ego
Almost
means Brahmatvam.
almost self-effacing
Yes,
way of
yes, yes. Self-effacing. Self-effacing. Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. With this, we conclude for today and we continue objectivity next week. Thank you.